This has been Harrell with Ambitions of a Writer. We have in the building Kayla Waters.
Yes, happy to be here.
Thank you for coming on. We have a great interview today. We're going to talk about Kayla Waters. We're going to see what's going on with her life, talk about her tour, talk about her music and her inspiration, and let's get started. So we're going to take a step back. We're going to think about 2017.
Okay.
I met you briefly. I'm not sure if you remember. It was a genre music group.
Yes.
It was an event where artists from the DMV came together to do some networking.
Yeah.
And you came in very humble, just an amazing presence. And in that same year, you released your first album.
Yes.
I remember your single "I Am" charted Billboard, was #1 on the Billboard charts for smooth jazz. So, tell us about the feeling. Describe the feeling of reaching that level, of receiving that recognition, and how God has opened the doors for you.
Well, I didn't expect it to excel that fast, to tell you the truth. As a new artist, as a breakout artist, it was my first single. So I was really amazed by the blessing that God pushed it up to #1. He's the Alpha and He's the Omega, so He is #1. And all my music is for Him, it's through Him, it's to glorify Him. So while I didn't expect it, I was like, okay, you are God, you can do anything. So it was a pretty surreal experience, and just to follow up from the single with my debut album that did really well, just a blessing to be able to put out my own sound, God-given sound, and for it to do well and stand alone on its own.
Wow.
So yeah.
It's amazing the doors that He will open when you do it for Him.
Oh my God, the doors, oh my gosh, you can't go wrong. When you put God first, you just can't go wrong. I mean, He just continues to show me that.
Sure. So you're talented, you're a pianist, composer, producer, music director. I mean, your music, you just live and breathe the stuff. So how do you switch gears and put on a different hat, producer versus music director? How do you keep it all organized?
Yeah, well, I've got to plan my schedule. I'm very detailed with my calendar, and I plan things out. And so some days I may be in studio producing or writing. Other days I may be in rehearsals. Other days I'm at church, working with the praise team. So it's kind of like I have to plan things out and get my mind prepared for the day at hand. It's a lot of mode switching, a lot of multitasking, but I think that that's another reason why I love what I do. I never get bored because there's always something different that I'm doing. So as long as I plan in advance and I know what I'm going to be doing ahead of time, I can kind of prepare myself mentally, for each different music task. That's
awesome. And just having so many talents helps you organize, helps you just prepare, and just, it keeps you on your game.
You never know which one you got to pull out.
Right. So let's talk about your influences. What are some of the biggest influences in your life musically, and how have they built you up? How have they helped you release your music?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of influences. I'm classically trained, so I definitely have influences in the classical genre, Chopin and Beethoven and Debussy and Ravel. I really enjoy the music of the classical composers. I grew up in a jazz household, so of course my dad is a huge influence, Kim Waters, George Duke, Oscar Peterson, so many great cats, Stevie Wonder, Patrice Rushen. I just learned so much from a lot of different people. I'm a worshiper, so I love, worship. That's a huge component of what I do as well. So all these different influences are just like a pretty cool melting pot, and I kind of just pull from that to create my own sound.
Yeah, speaking of your sound, you have your latest album, CoEvolve, that's out, and how have your experiences helped you put that album together? Talk about your growth in that album.
Right, CoEvolve was my sophomore album, my follow-up album to Apogee, and it was a really special process creating that. I took a lot of time away, 8 months with no social media. I knew that God was calling me closer to Him, to grow deeper with Him. And so He really wanted me to just focus solely on building my relationship with Him. And through that, He gave me the music for this album. I came up with the concept of a plant, the life of a plant. You plant the seed in the ground, you water it, it grows, and, the little leaf buds out the ground. But in essence, I'm really talking about me, my personal growth with God in a quiet place, secret place. And so the two ideas are fused together, and that's why the album's called CoEvolve. So it's very intimate. It's very special. It's a special project, and it's very dear to me. And I think it's my best yet. My best yet. It's got God all over it. Just the song titles, songs like "Signs and Wonders," "Little Mustard Seed." I mean, they reference the Bible, and I think that is something that's even different to the jazz format. It's different, period, because you don't see people branding God. People want to brand the world, but He's put it on my heart to brand Him, and so I'm just really excited about what He's doing. And CoEvolve is out, and it's doing extremely well. I'm getting ready to come out with my second radio single, Obsidian Rain, in a few weeks. So I'm excited about what God's doing.
It's amazing that you took the time to step away from social media. Because I like to talk about distraction all the time on my blog. And when you're distracted, you can understand, you may not understand what your purpose is or God's purpose for your vision and where you should go. And so that's just powerful, your journey and how you stepped away to get perspective, to just continue making music.
Right, absolutely. You know, a lot of people, especially in my age group, we don't know how to get quiet. We don't know how to turn our phones off sometimes. And so, you know, the busier I get, the more important it is for me to be disciplined, to carve out that special time to hear from God, to, you know, just check in with Him and make sure I'm in alignment with my purpose and, you know, what I'm doing. And so that intimate time, that quiet time is so important. Sometimes you have to step away and then, you know, gear yourself back up to launch to the next level. So it's very important, that intimate time.
Sure.
Yeah.
In your music, performing, you had the opportunity to work with a number of legends. What are some of those legends, and who have you enjoyed working with?
I've been so blessed to work with a lot of different people. Stevie Wonder, I met him in 2013. I did the Service to America Awards, which was at the DC Convention Center, and I had the opportunity to arrange the national anthem, and I played it for him, and I played some of his songs, and I got to meet him afterwards, and we hugged, and he loved my playing, so that was a huge honor just to have him compliment my playing. I mean, he's amazing at what he does. I met Gladys Knight a few years ago. I played with her on the Black Girls Rock Awards on BET. Just a timeless act. She's just a beautiful spirit, beautiful soul. Patrice Rushen, got an opportunity to work with her as well. And I just learned so much from them, you know, how to stay humble, stay true to yourself, stay organic with your music. You know, you don't have to change for anyone. So as a young budding artist, they really inspired me. A lot of the greats have truly inspired me to just continue what I'm doing, to stay in my lane, stay in my vein. So it's been a blessing.
And I love that. I love that when you can, veterans of the game can pass on that inspiration, because as young artists, new artists, we all need that. We all need that voice that keeps us moving.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about right now. Well, I'm so happy that you're here because I know that you're on tour and you take a few minutes out of your day to come speak with us at Ambitions of a Writer. So tell us about the tour. How's it coming along? What's the next stop?
Well, I've got to tell you, this is probably one of the busiest years I've ever had in my life, which is a good thing. I started my tour at the end of January, and I had a really busy past 2 months. I was in Dover, did a show out there, a show in Philly with my dad. I was on XM Watercolors and did a show at Blues Alley. And next week, I'm starting my second leg. I'll be in Richmond at the Tin Pan with my friend Tony Craddock Jr. on sax. I'm at the River City Jazz Festival in San Antonio the following week, the Berks Jazz Festival in Reading, Panama City Beach for a Seabreeze Jazz Festival at the end of the month. So it's a very rigorous tour schedule, but I'm prepared, and I'm, you know, just looking forward to what God's going to do in each city. You know, I'm on assignment wherever I go, and I'm looking forward to just blessing people and inspiring people and, you know, just doing what I'm called to do. That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. Yeah. So where can we find out more about your tour information, follow you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. My website is www.IamKaylaWaters.com. All of my social media handles are at I am Kayla Waters. So pretty simple to remember. So I hope you guys find me. Check me out.
Absolutely. Yeah. One more thing. There are always a new artist. Someone looking for inspiration. They want to follow your footsteps. They want to put music out there. There may be fear in their heart. They're not sure where to begin. What inspiration can you give, or motivation can you give to someone just who wants to begin but not sure how when it comes to music?
I'd always recommend taking some time away to really seek from God what your purpose is. you know, why you want to create music and what God wants to use you, how he wants to use you through your music that you're going to create. And that's something that I definitely did for CoEvolve. And, you know, when it comes out, it's so much more meaningful when you have purpose behind it, when there's substance behind it. And people love authenticity. They want to hear you come out with something that is true to yourself. And so you can't do that unless you know who you are and what your purpose is. So again, it's taking some time away to really sit with yourself, sit with God, and say, hey, what is my purpose? What sound am I supposed to create? So it's a mature thing to kind of take some time away, but I encourage people to discover that part of themselves.
Right.
And it'll be more meaningful.
And I like that, because basically you're saying be original. You don't have to be like somebody else. And that is so key for people to understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we appreciate Kayla Waters coming on Ambitions of a Writer. I encourage you to follow her on all of her social media pages. Just an amazing, humble person. You can just learn a lot from her, and check her out, check her music out. It's just, you know, we look forward to learning more about Kayla and seeing where she's going, and definitely just stay tuned.
Stay tuned. See you guys soon.